Yeah. Hello. Good morning, right? Over there, 10 a.m. Over here, 1 p.m. in New Zealand. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Jungkeun. Call me JK. I have my official department nickname. You can call me Handsome JK. Okay. Yeah. So later, if you contact me, okay, in the email, okay, dear Handsome JK, I recognize you taking my experiment workshop. Okay. So call me Handsome JK. As you can see here, I got my bachelor and master degree in South Korea, and I got my PhD in US. As you can see here, my English is so horrible, okay? I know that my English is a strong 경상도 accent English, okay? And suddenly, when I arrived in New Zealand, people thought that, oh, you have a New Zealand accent. So I found that 경상도 accent is quite similar to New Zealand accent, okay? And by the way, during my presentation, please, okay, join, okay, the conversation, okay? Actually, I have lots of question during the presentation. Feel free to join us, okay? And I have a few work experience at advertising agency and manufacturing company. And then as a researcher, I will introduce more deeply in the next page, but I'm mainly interested in consumer decision making. I like sports, tennis and golf, and I'm fan of Samsung Lions and All Blacks. All Blacks is a national rugby team for the New Zealand. And sorry, okay, if you cheer up for the another professional team, okay, I still like Samsung Lions. Any question?
Perfect so far.
Yeah. Let me introduce my research. My research is about the way consumers make a decision, okay? So as well as factor influencing on that consumer's decision making. So my major is marketing. So I'm interested in the typical market, the typical customers. Recently, I published a lot in travel journal. So travelers as another customer for me. So that is my another area of research. And in terms of research methodology, my expertise on experimental method, okay? So in various topics, okay, I mainly use experimental method. So here is the agenda of today. Today, I know that majority of you not directly from marketing or tourism hospitality, even another majors there. Your experience regarding experiment I expect very limited. So I will introduce what is experiment, how that method is different from other methods. As well as I briefly introduce how we conduct experiment. And additionally, I also talk about the concept of a moderator and mediators. It's quite important, the implication for the experimental method. And then there is certain recommendation how you utilize it or how you adapt right experimental method. And then at the final stage, there is some bonus for you guys, okay? So please feel free to join, okay, the conversation. Okay, so before I start, whenever you heard experiment, in Korean, we call the 실험, right? Actually, my Korean pronunciation also terrible. Sometimes, okay, my friend asked me, what is your major? I'm conducting marketing research based on experiment in Korean 실험. But my pronunciation is so horrible. So people sometimes perceive that you are doing wrestling, 실험, okay? It's not about wrestling, 실험, okay? It's about experiment, 실험, okay? Whenever you heard the 실험, okay, what kind of, the association pop up in your mind?
Like a beaker and something like a science class.
Science class, wow, very scientific. What else? I want to hear the other students' opinion, okay?
They are afraid of New Zealand accent. Hey, wake up, students. Hey, Rico.
Yeah, Erin, go ahead. Yeah, I know that you turn on mic. Yeah.
I think something like some equipment such as, can you hear me?
No.
No, I can.
Can you hear me? I think some equipment such as the eye tracking equipment or the VR or something like this technical equipment. Yeah.
Okay.
Really? Wow, you guys so scientific, okay? But before you started your master degree, even before you entered university, when you heard the 실험, okay, in Korean, what kind of, people do you think about it?
Sure. Test.
Like scientist, like
Specifically who?
like a person's name or like a
person's
job?
name. Yeah, person's name.
Name. Like
Einstein.
yeah.
Oh, really?
Or like
Or
I don't know. I can't think of like a
hospital.
person's name. But
How about Edison?
Edison.
Edison.
Right. So we know that he invented the bulb by conducting thousands of testing, right? So we call the 실험, right? Yeah, that is actually the experiment, okay? But in academic world, the experiment methods are a little bit unique. So today I prepared this research question, okay? Let's talk about academic meaning of experiment. So as a researcher, imagine that a researcher interested in the influence of advertising spending on sales on the company, okay? So he theorized that, okay, he believed that how we can increase sales, maybe by spending additional money on advertising. So his basic theorizing is, okay, if a company spends more money in advertising, it will increase sales. It's quite easy prediction, right? So this is her thesis. So she approached the advisor, and advisor told her that, oh, you need the data. So she chose top 100 Korean companies and then collect last year's sales and advertising spending. Okay, so lots of the top company, okay, they announced this statistic in the public. So she collects 100 pair, okay? One column, there is sales of each company, and the other column, there is advertising spending. And then, have you heard the regression analysis? This is very basic analysis, okay? Measuring the relationship between two variables. And then she found significant and positive result. And then she, okay, finalized her thesis, right? Okay, by conducting 100 companies data, I established the relationship between advertising and sales. Specifically, based on data suggests that advertising spending positively influence on sales. So practical implication is, if a company wants to increase sales, we need to spend more money on advertising. Okay, so she wrapped up her thesis. Beautiful, right? And this is a one of a typical academic job, okay? And my question is, any problem in this conclusion based on this data and this analysis? What kind of problem do you expect this one? Okay, you have two choices, okay? If you jump in voluntarily, what you could comment, I will not ask you. Otherwise, I pick up one of each, okay? Ask the question. So first I go, first I give the freedom, okay? And so feel free to join, okay?
Can I? Okay. I think, as I know, the regression analysis is quite difficult to figure out the causality. I mean, the causal relationship. So we can say it is quite different to. It is different that AD advertised spending is. I mean, the has a positive relation with sales.
Okay, yeah, Erin, okay, I like your
sure,
comment,
yeah.
okay, okay. Even though, okay, your comment is not long, I mean, you will still found a lot of the academic articles that use regression analysis and emphasize that they found causal relationship, right? So yeah, I want to hear, other people's opinion. Okay. Okay, I found that Chan-hee Kim, you said that the first year in doctoral degree. So yeah, so I want to hear your opinion. Chan-hee Kim, yeah. Turn on mic and say, yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. What do you think? What is the problem of this conclusion?
Sorry about that. I didn't listen because of the Wi-Fi problem. So.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. So basically, okay, a researcher collect 100 data from each company, okay, collect last year sales data and advertising spending, and then the student ran regression analysis, dependent variable is sales, independent variable is advertising spending. And then result indicate that there is a positive impact on advertising spending on sales. Based on that data, she concluded that advertising positively impacts on sales. Okay. And my question is, what is problem of this conclusion?
Professor,
Yeah.
I think that there is some other factor like a moderator or mediator, such as other situational factor like the I don't like.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. So actually, okay.
Some other factor like situational or environment factor.
Yeah. Also
some,
influence.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Yeah.
Something
And
like between advertisement and sales, there is something more like satisfaction or like expectation. So which means that Ms. Lee is talking about the moderating variable. So they didn't thinking about the between. Advertisement can affect on the sale, but there is must something between advertisement and sales, such as like expectation and satisfaction, something like that.
Okay, excellent. Okay, Hyunjin, you generate what you call underlying mechanism. Okay, even though she explained that positive effect of advertising on sales, maybe she failed to demonstrate the underlying mechanism, how advertising spending increase on sales. Maybe that's concept we called underlying mechanism, we call the mediator, and typical mediator can be edited toward the brand, right? By spending advertising, and you can increase attitude a certain brand, right? That is why previously I introduced myself as Handsome JK. Handsome is my advertising. I try to increase my attitude by emphasizing, okay, handsomeness. Yeah, advertising is emphasize some positive element of the product, right? Excellent.
That's right.
Okay. And then, okay, yeah, so actually, the Erin and Anji, okay, also mentioned the comment. How about this relationship? We theorize that advertising influence on sales, but actually, reverse relationship can be possible. Rather than advertising influence on sales, actually, sales can be influenced on advertising. How? Maybe how about this story? What's the meaning of a company has a lot of sales? They have rich financial resource, right? Therefore, they can spend so many advertising money, right? Since our data is annual based one, we don't know, okay, whether true what they call relationship, which is advertising influence sales, or we call the reverse causality, which is sales can be influenced on advertising. Or Anji said that there is certain third variable simultaneously influence on both variable, and it looks like that. Yeah, there is a relationship between advertising and sales, but true what they call underlying mechanism can be financial resource is the most important determinant for the phenomenon of advertising spending and sales, right? So why I introduced this one is the typical survey method. Okay, if a researcher make causal relationship from survey data, the data itself exposes this kind of fundamental weakness. Okay. So experiment is best.
Professor JK,
Yeah.
I have a question.
Okay.
The previous slide, the arrow direction from AD to sales.
Yeah.
This current slide is reverse from
Yeah.
sales to AD.
Yeah.
So if we run the SPS
Mhm.
application program, definitely there's a correlation
Yeah.
between two variables.
Yeah.
So technically, we can say sales can be independent variable and add is dependent variable.
Yeah.
But however, we shouldn't be saying like a sales increase and influence to the AD.
Yeah.
So why? Probably there is a direction issue.
Oh yeah, direction issue. So my point is a lot of regression analysis basically have the need strong assumption of what is independent variable and what is dependent variable. Okay. So sometimes, but my point is all the data based on correlation. Okay. And if you infer the causal relationship between correlation based data, you need a strong assumption.
Mhm.
Usually that assumption we call the theory, right?
Yes,
Right.
right.
But sometimes that theory is wrong. Even, for example, in the marketing area in 1980s, okay, in strategic area, they collect various secondary data and they found that sales is the most important source of competitive advantage based on PIMS
right.
data, we call.
Mhm.
But later, okay, that theory was, revoked by another what they call analysis. Actually, more important what they call independent variable is resource, company resource, rather than the
That's right.
sales or other one. So
Like
fundamentally,
for example, Samsung Group, they spend a lot of money, the advertisement money, to Korean market. So in that case, we can say, oh, Samsung sales volume positively influence the advertisement budget. That could be, say yes.
Yeah.
So far we are talking about direction. Direction
Yeah.
actually caused by theory that
theory, yeah,
that we can say assumption by based background theory
right.
from the prior literature.
Yeah, right. And so actually, okay, majority of the thesis or dissertation or academic article is right because they based on kind of the current strong theory, okay? But even though, okay, my comment is there is a fundamental issue regarding inferring right causal relationship, especially two variables, okay, right? So, so experiment method is a really good method, okay? Provide direct evidence of causal relationship, causality, okay? So advertising and sales. So how about this one? And maybe, okay, everyone, okay? Why don't you look at this advertising, Lima Park Hotel, okay? And then it mentioned beautiful graphic and certain characteristic and area, okay? And after that, if I ask you, okay, what is your evaluation of this Lima Park Hotel? Okay, maybe some people said the 5 and 6, 7, blah, blah. Okay, good, right? And actually in experiment, we need two groups. So think about it, one group, okay, there is 100 people. I randomly select 50 people exposed, previous stage, expose this advertising, and then measuring attitude toward this hotel. But I also, okay, use another 50 group. Those 50 group, they do not expose advertising at all. And then simply, okay, ask them, okay, there is a Lima Hotel, Lima Park Hotel. What is your evaluation? Measure it. Good. And then we can measure what we call two variables difference, right? And then if, okay, the evaluation of advertising was higher under group 1 rather than group 2, at least, okay, there is a significant positive effect of advertising on the attitude toward hotel, right? So this is the experiment, simple experiment, okay? And then based on this one, we can what they call infer certain causality, right? And again, okay, this is not, I mean, good academic research, okay? This is a simple, what you call the demonstration of what is experiment. Make sense? So if we found, okay, these two groups, only difference is group number one, they only exposed this advertising. Group number two, they did not. So if we found significant difference from certain dependent measurement, that difference can be caused by what? Our two different manipulation, whether participants was exposed to advertising or not, right?
So which
So-
means that manipulation means is expose this advertisement or not.
Yeah, not, yeah.
We can say that is manipulation.
Yeah, especially, okay. And especially this effect is expected more stronger that hotel is not that kind of familiar, right? For example, if we use Hilton Hotel, maybe the difference is not much, I mean, stronger, right? Because we already know, okay, for example, Hilton Hotel. But nobody heard, okay, Lima Park Hotel, right? Therefore, I believe the advertising is very powerful. Good. So what is experiment? And this is a formal definition. A
Another
study, yeah, okay.
We the routinely we measure the 5 scale, 2 scales, 5 scale, 7 scale, 9 scale, 11 scale.
Yeah.
So here's my question.
Yeah.
Why we have to use 7 scale?
Okay, yeah, good question, okay. Okay.
We have
Pro-
here engineering
okay,
skills here.
yeah, good. And typically, okay, they choose the 7 scale, and then there is a huge literature regarding, okay, using odd number scale versus even number scale, okay? So for example, if your value is quite neutral, you might choose 4, right? Over here, number 4 is neutral in the odd number scale, right? Like 5, 7, 9, or 11. But if you use, okay, 6-point scale, 8-point scale, 10-point scale, there is no neutral point, right? So that is a little bit different. But for my experience, okay, whether you use 5 or 7 or 9, or even sometimes you use 100 scale, okay, in bar, not much difference. So it's about the measurement item issue, okay? Yeah, thank you. And anyway, here is the definition of experiment. Experiment is a study in which intervention is deliberately introduced to observe its effect. So what's the meaning of the intervention? Intervention is we call the manipulation, okay? So the manipulation wording itself is a little bit negative, right? I manipulate you. Okay. So it's not good or normal what you call the terminology, but in science, okay, manipulation means systematically generate two multiple version of condition. Previous case, expose advertising or not, right? Right, okay. And then we measured, okay, some dependent variable. So actually the procedure of the experiment is quite similar for the survey, okay? It was conducted the typical survey form. Usually expose certain stimuli and then ask participants read that stimuli and experience that stimuli. After that, we ask participants rate certain measurement. But that student don't know, okay, there are multiple versions of that survey, right? In survey, at least, okay, 2, okay, different version, right? And previous case, advertising or no advertising, right? So how the survey and the experiment different? Critical difference is, as you can see here, how we measure or manipulate independent variable. In both survey and experiment, they measured dependent variable, right? They are same. But critical difference is, in the survey, we also measure independent variable like the sales and advertising, right? Even though we measured or observed the same. But in experiment, rather than measuring independent variable, we manipulate independent variable. Okay, that is a critical difference. Everyone follow me? Any questions so far? Good.
So, we usually take a test based on survey, which means it's a 5 scale, 7 scale, and measuring the point of the score on the 7 toward this brand, and then we run the application between two independent and dependent variable.
Yeah.
But in marketing experiments, we showing that manipulation, and then measuring two group, A group, B group.
Yeah.
Someone who show, someone who didn't see.
Yeah.
That's the difference about regression and marketing, the experiment design.
Yeah, it's not about just
Basic.
marketing, it's all the experiment design actually. Yeah, systematically generate at least two versions and then compare it. Okay, yeah, good, thank you. So, and based on Rosenthal, there is 3 research stream: descriptive research, relational research, and experimental research. So critical difference is between second and third one is relational research. Okay, it's like based on correlation one, like survey. Even though, okay, strong theory, they argue that they establish causality. There's some problem exist. However, if you use experimental method, and that data usually, okay, provide a much stronger evidence for causal relationship. So that is the strength of experiment. Okay, establish causality between usually independent variable and dependent variable. And then, okay, we further investigate how this if causal effect is occurred, that is study of mediator or mediation. As well as another student mentioned that how that variable can be different across different situation or different people or different country, different language. That we call issue of boundary condition or moderating effect. So experiment that understanding that key block is the most important. Okay. From now on, sorry. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. My question is the people say that in the marketing department they are prepared to use experimental design rather than relational design. Why particularly they prefer to marketing experimental design rather than regression?
First of all, I think that in marketing there is the consumer behavior track we called, okay, and then that track significantly influenced by psychology. And psychology is the most what they call the obvious field. Use the experiment method, and then I believe that that is influence of psychology department. Yeah, and but even in the business, for example, accounting, finance, MIS. Okay, previously they do not much use experiment, but nowadays I found that that trend is a little bit different. Okay. The number of articles in even their top journal using as the experiment is increasing. As well as I strongly believe that that trend is also the same as travel and hospitality area as well, right? Yeah. And I believe that some of you, okay, from engineering, right? Who from the engineering department?
Maybe we have 4 or 5.
Yeah. Can you raise your hand and turn on mic? Okay, my point is, okay, engineering, okay, I believe the majority of the data based on experiment, right? You already change at the certain condition of the things, okay, and then measuring, okay, the electronic response, and then, okay, think that some method is the best method, okay, blah, blah, right? So I think that the experiment is also systematically influenced on various fields. I believe that the origin of experiments is conducted from agricultural area. The purpose is how we generate, select the best seed for the certain field. That is the origin of experiment, I believe so. Okay. Yeah. Let's move on.
Here's the point out again. In MIS field, they are measuring the independent variable advertisement and the sales as a dependent variable, and that is we identify the advertisement is a influencer.
Yeah.
However, the marketing is you are particularly make group A and B group, so someone who has experience on that the advertisement, and then you can find out which group particularly has influenced by that advertisement.
Yeah, that is true. Maybe this next example is quite relevant. So this one is not just about this advertising or not. So a researcher wants comparing two different framed message, okay? Like positive frame message and negative frame message. Previously, I called handsome JK positive message. If you call me ugly JK, that is a negative message, right? Even though they describe the exact same person. So and a researcher test positive way of description, which is 75% of lean of the product ground beef versus 25 fat of ground beef. That is the exact same, right? And then, the dependent variable is preference or evaluation of a target product. To do that, got it? So independent variable is two different frame messages, okay? Positive or negative. Dependent variable is either choice or evaluation. So based on this, the condition, a researcher design like this, okay? JK ground beef, 75% lean, $10. And second one, Sam's beef, 25% of fat, $15, and this one. Now after that, okay, I ask, okay, and which one would you like to choose, okay? JK ground beef and Sam's ground beef. And fortunately, I found that, okay, majority of the participants, among 300, 240 people choose JK ground beef. And this statistic is significantly different from random choice, which is 50%. So based on this data, a researcher concluded, okay, look at this. Based on my experiment, I found that evidence supporting that people preferred using positive frame message, which is 75% of lean. Okay, what is the problem? Okay, if those answer already, okay, you cannot participate in it. I want to hear the new person.
Professor.
Yeah.
The option 1 and option 2 are something. The picture and the price are different.
Oh yeah.
Comparable.
Oh yeah. Maybe those you like JK ground beef. It's not about the 75% of lean. The picture is more maybe. Actually, I like the other Sam's beef picture, but anyway, picture is different, price is different, much cheaper. And then there is a huge mistake. JK ground beef. How good of JK? You like it, you love JK, therefore you choose JK. So that is so many alternative explanation. Explain this choice, right? Therefore, this is not good experiment design. So what is the good design? How about this one? Bam. JK ground beef, 75% lean, 100%. And negative one, exactly use the same picture, brand name, and number, which is price. What is the only difference? The way of describing the attribute, which is 75% lean versus 25% of fat. And then after that, we cannot, use a choice variable, right? Because the two similar, it's very weird, right? So rather a researcher wisely measure attitude of each option and then found that positive one is better than negative. And this is a much better design, right? And then based on this data, how we can explain, the result? The difference in dependent variable might caused by only small difference, which is the positively or negatively described attribute. Makes sense, right? And then the conclusion is, okay, therefore, I provide the empirical evidence that the causality between frame of advertising message on evaluation of the brand. And some people might ask, hey, JK, I have alternative explanation. What? You know what? Some people don't eat the beef, right? We call it vegetarian and vegan. And those people belong to the advertising number 2. So for them, okay, evaluation of beef is usually 1 and 2. That's the reason why the 4.43 among them, maybe I believe that maybe 10 people in vegetarian vegan belong to group number 2. Therefore, their evaluation can be quite low. That is a good alternative explanation, right? But however, okay, actually experiment used, later I will more explain that one. I told that in this study, a researcher must randomly assign each people group A or group B. The meaning is if I have 100 participants from, okay, list, number 1, I randomly choose 1 and 2. Therefore, even if there is a certain portion of vegan and vegetarians exist in total population, and based on statistical law, they should equally, okay, go to condition number 1 as well as condition number 2. So there is a very limited chance that all the vegetarian vegans belong to the number 2, right? So randomization is a critical, okay, aspect of experiment. They provide the direct evidence of the causality. Without randomization, okay, we cannot argue that, right? That's right. Yeah, good. Yeah, so let me wrap up again. Experiment, I told that we systematically manipulate.
Okay, here's a,
Okay.
before we go, so my question is like what you explain to the vegan and the vegetarian, maybe include this experiment. But anyway, I want to check vegan and the vegetarian group for this experiment. Then we can say there is minor experiment, and that would be moderating variable.
For me, okay, it's better to exclude the participant. Okay, so it's like, okay, we cannot collect the data from, okay, younger age people regarding alcoholic beverage attitude or purchase intention, right? Because legally, culturally, it's not what they call acceptable. Same, okay. So I believe that since if you are in the ground beef business, you focus on non-vegetarian and vegan. So that participants, if there is certain participant, that kind of participant, that is actually noise for this experiment, right? So it's better to exclude that participant. How you can do that? Yeah, maybe at the beginning of survey, you can mention that, oh, this survey is about the attitude of beef. So if you are vegan or vegetarian, okay, do not participate in this study.
Good, good.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Good. Excellent. Any question? No? Wow, but time goes so fast. Okay. Oh, I prepared the 58 page and I only cover 16. Good.
I'll call you back.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Okay. If you pay me again, okay, I'm welcome to do that.
Paying is I will raise your pay.
Okay. So actually, yeah. This is experiment, and then some topic is good for the conducting experiment, okay? But some topic is a little bit difficult. But one topic is, for example, the impact of nostalgia in the travel area. So I believe that the concept of nostalgia in travel and hospitality is one of the popular study, right? And typically, they measure nostalgia for the specific destination or specific travel time, right? And then investigate, okay, large of the complex relationship, right? But my point is, okay, how we manipulate nostalgia, right? That is quite difficult, right? But you know what? I searched the Google Scholar and I instantly found this one, okay? This one is, okay, Journal of Experimental Social Psychology article. And if we look at that one, okay, there is what you call a specific way of manipulate certain nostalgia concept. Okay. So amazingly, okay, other researchers already developed certain knowledge of what you call manipulation. So if you are engaged in certain research topic, just visited Google Scholar, type experiment, and then keyword your keyword, and you'll find, okay, specific way of manipulation. So my point is, okay, even if, okay, in some field, their specific manipulation method is quite limited, but if you look at another field or measure, you'll find experimental manipulation easily. Okay, good. And from now on, I'm going to briefly introduce actually how we can conduct experiment. Okay, so, and there is a 4 step. The first one is after preparing certain, at least 2 different versions of the survey, and assign, okay, this treatment record or condition to different group. Okay. And then measuring response and comparing that one that is statistically we called ANOVA, okay? And then based on the ANOVA result, okay, we infer causal relationship among that the independent variable and dependent variable, okay? So over here, again, the step 1 is quite critical. We need randomization, okay? So if we incorporate, okay, recruit a certain fixed number of people, if we have, for example, 2 conditions, we should randomly, okay, assign, okay, 2 conditions for each participant. That is very critical. Okay. So previously, okay, nowadays I conduct a lot of online survey. There is a software, okay, randomization. So if we will link, okay, that software automatically, okay, gives and some people randomly. Previously, I collect a lot of experiments based on printed survey. How can do that? For example, if I have 4 different versions of survey, after I print out, I mix up. Okay, I'm very good. Okay, after print out, and then later I found that in printing, okay, option there is a sorting function. I don't need to do that. So anyway, okay, I did okay.
That was happening in your the master degree students or
yeah.
doctoral
Yeah.
degree students?
Yeah. Anyway, okay, I was so good, okay. And then when I was worked in the master in South Korea, and then there is only 1 copy machine in our whole faculty. So there is a huge waiting line. And then even there is a young professor, I jump in. Oh, I'm from Professor Park's office. Can I jump in? That was allowed. Anyway, okay, that is the old story. And yeah, my experience of RA, okay, make really good. Okay. Yep. And
Trained
yeah,
in Korea.
yes. And here is the how we conducted the experiment more formally. Another step is setting the stage of the experiment. Okay, and constructing IB, measuring DB, and then when you conduct the experiment, you need to do certain post-experimental follows up. I will explain. So first one is, okay, typically, previously we need to visit the classroom. We invited students, right? And then at that time, I really emphasized that, okay, and make a report between researcher and student and invited them. So when I was the PhD student, okay, and then when I need to collect the data now, even nowadays, at the physical face-to-face class 1, I use that joke. Hello, everyone. I'm JK. Call me handsome JK. Everybody laughed. Everybody positive. At least, okay, I make a good relationship. Okay, that is quite important. Therefore, okay, and the participants at least, okay, should provide a relatively high level of motivation and ability participated in the survey. That is a little bit critical. Okay. In online one, a little bit different, okay? We cannot use that one, right? So therefore, it's better to provide a more simpler version of a survey, okay? Or interaction platform is usually good for the online panel. After that, I'm gonna construct IB. One critical issue is I told you that okay, we're gonna manipulate specific experiment factor while keeping everything else constant. Do you remember this one? So this is more critical, okay? And I found that a lot of the students, when I asked them design the experiment, they miss this part. They use JK ground beef versus SAM's ground beef. It's not good. If you focus on attribute frame, if you focus on brand name, you can systematically change it. But otherwise, keep constant. That is the most important one.
Okay, here's my question.
Yeah.
You said you try to make a participant motivated. You say, I'm handsome, JK, and they laughing, and then they feel positive and seriously answer the questions about you preparation.
Yeah.
But usually we give some money or more something product or a gift for the participants.
Yeah.
So is scientifically is allowed, as far as I know.
Yeah.
So how much we should give the gift for the participant when we try to collect data from participant?
Yeah, so if you give very small money, they feel that certain frustration.
Mm-hmm.
If you give too big money, okay, it also generates certain bias. It's better to provide, right amount of the money.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe if you use the Amazon M truck, okay, maybe minimum wage. So per minute, maybe 15 cents is the good, okay?
50 cents.
15 cents for the per minute is good.
1.5 cents.
Yeah.
4 minutes.
But the thing is, sometimes, okay, when I was a PhD, I use this one. Okay, today I'm gonna collect the data, and you know what? I have $2. All our family depends on you. If you your participation is so poor, I could not get my PhD, so therefore I cannot support my family. In some way, that statement can, generate certain bias. But why I used that one is usually participants, their motivation is quite low. It's better to increase their motivation.
Mm-hmm.
So that is why I use that tactics. But accurately, you should understand state of participants and then give the comment a little bit generate the most acceptable condition for your research. Okay. For example, today's lecturing, I really used the joke because lots of online students, okay, they think that this lecturing is so boring. That's why I systematically use that joke, handsome JK. Same as the experimenter, they must understand.
It's not a joke, you are really handsome.
Thank you. Yeah. So then my point is, got it. You should understand, okay, the participant, especially if you look at the response from failure experiment, you can infer certain state of the participant. If you measure their response time and blah blah, you can infer their behavior status. Based on that one, you need a little bit slightly change. So it's very very interesting. And there is funny story that, but personally later I will introduce my personal life. I got a lot of failure when I was an undergraduate student in terms of romantic relationship. Okay, I was very kicked off by various women which I approached. Later I found that my psychological skills is so horrible. Nowadays, I know that there is a certain pickup artist, the cafe, and I'm a member of that one. I do not want to pick up skill, but I found that they use certain psychological theory, okay? And then understand in human relationship, in some way, psychological theory is sometimes helpful, okay? If we use rightly. Yeah. So everything is about psychology, right? In social science. And then even engineering, I believe that's similar. Okay. So even though you guys talk about non-social science, your scientific findings should be very objective. But who decided which research is important or not important, impactful or not impactful? By co-researcher or co-colleagues, right? So therefore, you should present your research more impressively. Right? So everything is psychology. Make sense? Yeah. Good. Sorry. Let's move on. And I told that random assignment for the IB is critical. Okay. And measuring dependent variable, yeah, we already sometimes talk about it using 5 or 7, 9-point scale, right? But nowadays measuring actual behavior is really important. So I'm going to talk about this one later. And then after experiment, we have the debriefing stage. So especially in students and the interface, we explain, purpose of this study was something, and then we call the certain debriefing section. That is quite important. Yep. Yeah, that is another summary of experiment. That is my first part of experiment. So so far I explained to you what is the experiment, how it different from survey-based or measurement-based method, and this is a step for conducting experiment, as well as importance of random assignment to infer the causal relationship. Any question? No. Okay. From now on, I'm going to talk about briefly regarding moderator and mediator. And before that, I really like this story. Okay. So as you can see here, I got lots of dental treatment. Okay. And previously it's a small car, and then nowadays I believe it's almost expensive sedan, price in my mouth. So I explained that, oh, you know what? Whenever I'm tired, I have teeth pain. So what is my causality? My tiredness influence on my teeth pain. Lots of people, you feel in this. Oh, you guys are young, sorry, Later you will experience of teeth pain. And remember me, whenever you are tired, your pain of teeth pain is really increase. Make sense? So this is my theory. Tiredness increase effect. At the time, the dentist explanation is wrong. Hey, JK, that was wrong. When I am tired, the germs cause my teeth pain. But when I am not tired, even there is a germ usually do not cause my tooth pain. So what is a true relationship? This relationship, right? What is the real cause? Tiredness? No. Tiredness never directly increase teeth pain. When you feel teeth pain means there is lots of germ because your poor toothbrush, right? And then what is tiredness? A boundary variable influence on relationship between true independent variable and dependent variable. Make sense? Okay. So this the tiredness is not actually cause. We should call moderator variable or boundary condition. So our personal experience, we make a lot of false causality, because we cannot see germ, therefore, but we can feel tiredness. Therefore, we try to make connection. Here is another story. And when I was a PhD student, there's no food allergy, but year 3, I developed mango allergy. And one day after I eat the mango, my body itch. I visited that, and then I got the medicine. It was relieved. After that, I ate mango again. I got mango allergy response. So I theorized this relationship. Whenever I eat the mango, then maybe there is a certain chemical response of my body. It make mango allergy. Causality. What should I do? I don't want a mango allergy, therefore I do not eat the mango. Good, right? After that, I remember that case. It was maybe our PhD students potluck party. Okay, each one brings certain food, and then okay, some student bring the fruit dish. So I eat. Yeah, apple and peach. Oh, delicious. I'm really enjoying. And suddenly, okay, my friend told me, hey, my friend know that I have mango allergy. Hey, JK, that is mango. I thought that is peach. I really enjoyed it. When my friend called me, JK, that is mango, I got allergy response within a second. Boom. So at that time, okay, wow, I think that previously I always believed that, okay, whenever I eat the mango, I got the mango allergy, but no. Maybe psychological recognition is quite important moderate variable as well, right? And even other cases, 2009, I went to the Tokyo conference, gala dinner. I really enjoyed the full dish, okay? And poor professor cannot enjoy the hotel dish, but only one exception is conference gala dinner. I really enjoyed the full course. Yeah, it's Tokyo hotel, wow. And I really finished the dessert, and you know there is certain food menu, right? I read the dessert section, and then there is mango, and suddenly my body is itch. I confirm another case, okay? Without knowing mango, my body actually totally fine, but whenever I recognize it, okay, it generates the mango allergy. Over there, significant moderation effect, right? Effect of recognize whether I'm eating mango or not. Okay. So if we draw the graph should be like this, right? Maybe regardless of your jump, if you are not tired, there is no symptom. But when there is jump, as well as when you're tired, there is a certain symptom. Okay. So graphically, we illustrate like that. That is the definition of moderate variable. A third variable influence on the direction or strength of relationship between IB and DB. So why the moderation is important? Go to the previous case. If we ignore the moderator, we only observe very weak main effect, right? So scientifically, it's quite difficult, but still there is effect. More serious case is like this graph. So maybe relationship between price and purchase intention. Some people purchase certain good because at the low price. That is a typical consumption behavior, right? But some people behavior actually opposite. Some people spend lots of money for the luxurious good. For them, okay, high price actually increase the price. So if there is two different what they call people in exist in the market, if we ignore the moderator, it looks like that there is no effect. When you conduct an experiment, if there is no effect, usually, you cannot graduate, sorry, bring the relevant data, right? As well as social phenomena can be systematically ignored by research. So that, okay, there is no effect of IB on DB. Actually, okay, if there is certain, we call it crossover interaction effect, it has huge social issue as well as theoretical implication as well as practical implication. So investigating significant moderating variable is quite important. Actually, you guys, okay, you are in majority of you belong to the master and PhD level. One of the easiest social research is there is a certain established research showing positive or negative. You can just simply introduce a moderate variable. The relationship is when it is stronger or weaker or sometimes reversed. Okay, so that is one of the easiest research for you guys.
Okay, JK, my question. Back to slide. Previous slide.
Oh, previous slide. Yeah.
Okay, previous. Another one. Here we go.
Yeah.
That is, we call it is a research model.
Yeah.
And the next slide. When we're tired, so tiredness is minorly affect the jump between jump and the illness, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And when we tired, the jump is much more seriously infect the symptom,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
when we are not tired, there's no such effect.
Yeah.
How about that? You said the object direction. Okay. If the tiredness, if we go the object direction, like another the graph, that means how can we explain it? The jump, okay. We are strongly health, then jump is much more influenced to the effect.
Oh, this one? I talk about,
Okay.
but I mean, jump is not good for the jump case. Okay, usually jump do not what they call. I mean, cannot what they call increase certain joy of pain, right? But lots of, for example, the price research, okay, typically belong to the over here, right? Sometimes we purchase a product because it's cheap. At the same time, sometimes we purchase certain one because that is expensive. Yeah.
Right.
So therefore, price level can be independent variable, high and low. Sometimes some people purchase, okay, less when price is high, but some other people showed opposite. Even within same person, based on different consumption setting, our purchase intention can be dramatically changed, right?
That's correct. So that's my question is like this. You said if we cannot find out any the relationship, but we cannot graduate. But you said we find out the opposite direction, like a tiredness. Tiredness is it, which means it makes sense and common sense. Okay, we are tired is the symptom is more serious.
Yeah.
But if find out the opposite direction caused by tiredness, which is a very surprising and very unusual result.
Oh yeah.
That's why you said that it's time to graduate.
Oh yeah. So, right. Okay. And then again, the tiredness is the good for this one. Yeah, but however, the other example, okay, like price level as well as individual characteristic, the types of product can be good, moderate, better. So one recommendation is when you measuring dependent variable, try to measuring a possible moderate variable, okay, for your what you call relationship. So even moderate variable can be used by measurement. In social psychology, there are lots of individual difference scale. Okay. So nowadays, so in South Korea, there is the certain 4 personality type, which is so popular, right? what kind of personality? MBTI, okay. Yeah. So personally, I don't much believe, okay, that MBTI, because if we know that that one is based on certain measurement things, sometimes, okay, I measured a certain one and then I categorize a certain type, but my daughter left me, oh, JK, you're not that type. I also think that is my type. Anyway, I already questioned regarding validity and reliability of the scale. My point is, that is one example of individual difference based on scale. So it's better to measuring that individual scale, okay, as possible moderate variable. That is a research strategy. Whenever you measure the key dependent variable, try to measuring possible moderate variable. Okay, so even if your result is no result, maybe learn moderation effect. Sometimes that they provide more successful result. And more complicated one is previously there is only single moderate variable, but we think about 2 moderators. So much complicated one. And then, this kind of 3-way, sometimes okay, 3 moderate variables, we call the 4-way interaction effect, is really, really difficult in what they call normal people. So it has usually, okay, much stronger scientific value. Okay. Yeah. that is concept of the moderate variable, and then there is some further reading regarding, okay, how we detect, moderate variable, how we detect, how we analyze it, okay? You can refer the, further the academic reference. But any question regarding moderate variable? No?
Elisa.
Yeah, Elisa. Any question?
Yeah. Oh, no, I understand everything. You explained really well. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, good. Okay.
So Elisa, can you understand what JK is saying?
Yeah, because I'm studying psychology, so we used to study a lot experimental research.
Okay, good. Let's move on. This one is about travel. So especially last week was Korean Thanksgiving Day, and lots of people travel a lot from different cities. Imagine that, okay, 10 cars start from Seoul, and they all arrived in Busan, okay? And actually my hometown is Daegu, so I observed the car, and at the Daegu, I observed that 10 cars. So what is the meaning of this one? So if we go back to it's the same car, okay, start from Seoul to the Busan, they pass through Daegu, right? Okay, so we guess that, okay, they might take the highway, so, okay, from Seoul, Daegu, Busan, okay? So we call Chico, okay? Arrived at one. How about this case? Okay, the same car, okay, 10 cars start from Seoul, and it arrived to Busan safely, all the car. But when I observed in Daegu, only 6 cars passed through in Daegu. So, okay, Elisa, question, what happened for that 4 cars?
I think they just go directly to Busan.
Oh, yeah, maybe, yeah, okay, even, okay, you pass through the highway, you don't need to visit the Daegu, okay? So maybe I checked, okay, certain highway check-up point of Daegu, okay? Still, the meaning is they do not use that route, right? They might use other route, right? Yeah. So this concept, okay, we call the mediator, okay? So at the first time, we call that, okay, certain underlying mechanism, okay? So this is my graphic illustration. So got it? So if Seoul is IB, Busan is DB, okay? And then lots of car pass through certain what they call area, we call the Daegu on this travel model, they can be mediated, make sense? And then critical difference in case 1 and case 2 is, case 1, we believe that all the effect actually explained by the city of Daegu. But case 2, this 4 car actually in other city, right? It means other route. They do not take the maybe highway number 1, right? Rather, they take the highway number 1 temporarily, and then you drop by other place, go to the, dependent variable. Make sense? So this is graphic illustration of we call the mediator variable or underlying. Formally the mediator can be defined that the third variable intervenes between IB and DB. And as a research perspective, it's about underlying mechanism for the certain causal effect. So at the first time, Hyunjin, mentioned that, the original advertising and sales, that study failed to provide the reason why. It's true, in social science, explaining the phenomena is quite important, theoretically as well as empirically. Empirically, if you need to provide the data, you need to measure mediator and provide certain evidence. So statistically, how we provide the evidence, we call Sobel test. Okay, so the logic of Sobel test is just calculate beta coefficient between IB and mediator model. In this case, mediator is a dependent variable, IB is IB. And second model is DB, okay, but put mediator is IB as well as IB, original IB. And then if we calculate A multiply B, okay, and these two multiplication is significant means at least, okay, A is significant, is B is significant. The combination is A and B is significant. That is Bannon and Kenny method. Then there is certain what they call the advanced. Nowadays we use Hayes model, okay? Bootstrapping method, statistically similar, but okay, yeah, that is certain the trend. So previously, Bannon and Kenny method was the most cited paper, okay, in social science. Okay, there's #1 in the social science, okay, in citation because Bannon and Kenny method is typical method based on 3 regression model. But it replaces nowadays Hayes method. But anyway, I really emphasize that, okay, importance of the mediator is maybe, yeah, even if we explain the phenomena, unless we cannot explain detailed underlying mechanism, scientific value of that research is usually small. So it's quite important for the social, especially social research, okay, explain that phenomena. A little bit different story for the engineering, right? Because engineering itself, large of certain, you cannot really measure, okay, certain mediator typically. So if you found certain engineering evidence, okay, usually you already, okay, provide certain underlying mechanism as well. But social science is a little bit different, okay? Because we can have original mediator or mediators, sometimes, okay, multiple route. Okay, sometimes one route can be alternative explanation. So go back to the, okay, JK ground beef and no advertising, even though, okay, we mentioned that, wow, that is the effect of advertising. There are so many alternative explanations, right? Oh, look at, okay, Lima Park Hotel. Yeah, Lima Park Hotel image is beautiful, and I like certain brand name, blah, blah. Even JK ground beef, same. Okay, JK value have certain meaning. So that's all what they call irrelevant explanation can explain the causality between IB and DB. We call it alternative mediator. So as a researcher, it's quite important provide directing empirical support for the original mediator we want to suggest as a theory level, as well as it's quite also important exclude alternative mediator or alternative explanation for certain phenomena. Okay, so there is certain tools, okay, how we conduct that one, but due to the time limit, I do not much cover that one. So this is my, lecturing regarding mediators. Okay, question? No. Okay, so in social science, we are also a genius. So sometimes, okay, we combine mediate and moderate simultaneously. Okay. So sometimes, okay, moderate can be located between IB and mediator or mediate and dependent variable. Okay, based on that one, sometimes we can test mediated moderation model or moderated mediation model. From now on, I'm gonna, okay, show you certain new trend in experiment. This is quite important. And again, in social science, replication is quite important. So previously, okay, we submitted a certain travel or even the marketing journal, either 1 or 2 studies. But nowadays, at least, okay, researcher needs to provide the multiple evidence for the certain theorizing story. So conducting multiple studies is quite important. So yeah, sometimes, okay, in study showing the main effect, second study showing mediator, third study showing moderate variable, and as combined, they provide much better what they call the evidence. As well as using mixed method is the one recommendation, okay? Experiment method, even though they are stronger in providing causal evidence, their external validity, or what we call generalizability, is quite limited because we should, I mean, keep other things constant, right? So how we increase that element, usually combine other methods, right? Survey, secondary data, okay, even eye tracking. That is in the trend. Address. Sometimes there are lots of sample size issue or some method issue, analyze issue, using covariate issue. There is certain a little bit, okay, noisy things happen. Therefore, okay, pre-registration is quite important for the experiment as well. So if you pre-register, okay, even, yeah, it's really good, maybe for excluding certain participants. And then I told that there are several what you call method good for enhance its external validity from the experiment data. Experiment data is just stronger in internal validity, which is providing evidence for the direct causal relationship. But they therefore naturally they are weak for providing external validity, which is that phenomena is right for the across all the people, different time and different situation. In experiment, it's quite difficult to achieve that one. Therefore, if you combine other methods like field experiment or field data, okay, that is really good. So maybe, okay, yeah, I'm gonna introduce my example of how we combine different methods. In recent Journal of Travel Research paper, we interested in the impact on COVID-19 on extreme aversion. So we use two different manipulations. So people, those who read this news article, they temporarily, the threat of COVID-19 was increased compared to those who read in sports article, right? And then we ask them hotel choice. Over here, there's a 4 choice, okay? 2 middle choice attribute. One is middle price, middle kind of the quality hotel room option. So therefore we call the non-extreme option. On the other hand, number 1 and number 4 is extreme option because they are cheapest or highest in the price, as well as the price is the most good, the worst, right? And then we found that choice share of non-extreme option was higher in high threat COVID-19 condition rather than low threat COVID-19 condition. So this is experiment. We provide direct evidence of causality, as well as we also provide evidence of mediate and moderate variable. However, still our external validity is quite weak. How we overcome this one? At that time, we use 2 secondary data. First data is Hong Kong hotel occupancy rate. In some way, we got that data. So as you can see here, this is before COVID-19. See, in Hong Kong hotel, the category based on that the government categorization, guest house, which is a cheaper one, and high trip A is the most highest one. Okay, there's a 4 category. Here is pattern for the before the COVID-19. Good, right? That's usually high, but after COVID-19, the occupancy rate is all occupancy rate is dropped significantly. However, if we check the relative change, as you can see here, after COVID-19, drop rate is much smaller for middle to range, right? So this data is parallel with my previous experimental data. So, right. And then I also use Google search data. So in Google search data, we checked, okay, 1 star, 2 star, 3, 4, 5 star hotel. And we assume the 4 star and then the 5 star hotel is the extreme version, right? Same, this is frequency of search. Before COVID-19, this is after COVID-19. Yeah, sure, there is a huge main effect. Hotel search is dropped significantly after COVID-19. However, the drop rate, either abstract change or relative change, was the smallest for the 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, especially 3 star. So therefore, this secondary data also confirm what the empirical evidence from experimental data. So if we combine this experiment study, okay, I believe that the JTL paper conducted 4 different experiment study, provide additional 2 secondary data, okay? as the mixed method provide a much stronger empirical evidence in terms of causality as well as external validity.
So you finally found out the non-extremeness effect during COVID-19.
Yeah, and the major story is maybe COVID-19 generates certain threat. So people's behavior under threat is usually risk reduction strategy. So taking extreme is usually perceived more risk, therefore the preference for the middle attribute option. Okay. Yeah.
So actually in general period, typically we choose a middle among the extremeness, isn't it? But now is a certain the big event or big the happening is occurred, and then the human behavior is much focused on the middle items.
Yeah, it's true. So as the Professor Gu said that, okay, the people have generally choose the safety option. We call it compromise effect in the choice setting. But that compromise effect is much stronger under high threat of COVID-19. So that is my additional contribution.
I see. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, this kind of the multiple experiment is very recommended. Okay, study one showing.
Another question.
Oh, sorry.
If this experiment design for hotel, this same study can be replica to the tourism context, like a extremely expensive one and then very cheap one, and then in the middle. So these days, people after endemic period try to find out or choose the suitable touristic items. So that time, probably we choose in the middle rather than the extremeness, isn't it?
In this case, okay, the different factor influence on that one. Maybe after the COVID-19 pandemic, the price of travel usually increase, right? So maybe economic threat is another important factor. Previously, avoiding the pandemic is quite important factor to drive the preference of middle option. But nowadays, I believe the economic threat, okay, and can be also drive that one. Yeah. So again, there is so many phenomena, and then there is so many moderate variable. As a researcher, just select, okay, some relevant thing based on your expertise, combine, conduct the experiment, and then find secondary data, and as a package, okay, provide much stronger empirical evidence. That is my argument. Yeah. Good. Perfect time. Wow. Oh yeah, we catch up. Okay, the speed. I like it. And then this is a certain typical experiment path in study one showing main effect. At the first idea, do not try too many things, okay? Because to be honest, success rate for the experiment is less than 30%. So large of failure. At the first study, you generate the most, the huge, the powerful study and try to find some effect. Okay, unless you have a significant crossover interaction effect, but quite difficult. But anyway, find certain main effect and then go further. Maybe study two, a little bit change IB and DB, and then providing certain mediator evidence. Study three, provide certain modulating effect. And then, study four, combining field and secondary data, you can already increase externality. As the package, it really sell well for the even top journal in travel research. Then this is a further reading regarding experiment, especially in psychology things, and try to read it. Good. So that is main presentation, except the bonus. But any question? No. Okay.
No
so.
question? Oh no, please.
No, okay, that's okay. We can discuss a more serious one. Okay, later there is a Q&A section. From now on, I'm gonna provide more practical recommendation for your life experiment. So, do you have any problem? Anyone has any problem? It's not academic problem. Okay, it's a personal problem. For example, okay, my golf game, okay, I'm fixing my hooking in my iron shot, okay, and slice in driver shot, that is application. I'm really struggling, okay. So everyone, you have a certain problem, right? So what is your problem now? Okay, Anji, sorry, okay. Everyone else, what is your personal problem right now?
Yeah, Professor, actually these days I don't have enough time to study and read the article.
Okay,
But
excellent.
I'm a student, so I need more enough time. This day I'm
Sorry.
thinking about that issue.
Okay, good. Okay, so your
blaming me
problem can be okay driven by wonderful your supervising team, right? Research team, but your problem can be, framed two different ways. First one is how I can increase the starting time, or your problem can be defined as how I can increase efficiency of time, right? So based on definition of the problem, approach can be different. So Anji, in your case, which one?
Actually, this day I'm trying to the second one. I'm
Okay,
trying to
efficiency
enhance
of
my
the time,
yeah.
right? Good. Okay, yeah. So in some okay, when I was live in South Korea, I travel a lot by the subway. In some way, the article reading was conducted in much of in subway. Wow, in some way, okay, my concentration level of study is peak in the subway, especially I'm sitting. So my point is, okay, it's about managing time, and then another thing is, okay, I have a specific routine about using the reading article. Can you see this pen? We call sharper pencil pen. I use almost 20 years for the same pen. Okay, I actually purchased maybe 15 years ago bunch of the one. I have my routine with the sharper pen with the yellow highlight pen. I read the article. So after make the routine, for me, easy to have the psychological feeling of reading article more effectively. Nowadays, I change a little bit. After COVID-19, I do not print out too much. So I read in the online version. Still, I use the same color of highlighting, yellow one. Okay, so routine is my recommendation. Okay, but thing is, okay, why I mentioned this one is, what is experiment? Experiment is a powerful tool for problem solving. How? What is experiment? Experiment is manipulation, right? Without manipulation, we cannot call it experiment. What is manipulation? Making at least two versions of stimulus, right? Same in your life. Importance of trying new things. Why new things? Because there is existing thing is there. I don't know how you read article, but you have a current practice of reading article, right? My recommendation is change, try to new approach. Sometimes, okay, try to read without pen, without highlight for my case. So recently I dramatically changed. I changed from reading article from paper version to online. Before I try to add one, I stick that one. Yeah, I think I can increase that one, but my recommendation is to try the new approach, okay? And new goals. Previously, okay, you might read, okay, 3 papers per day, okay? But set a goal like, okay, I'm gonna read 50 articles per day. Why? That is a good goal is, you cannot read 50 articles per day. But if you set up 3 articles per day, after you reading 3, you're satisfied, done, right? But if you set up 10, sometimes you can reach, but if you set 50, you always fail. However, you could read 20. And that's it. I call the contrast-based one. Set up impossible goal and make current goal is much easier. Recently, okay, I adapted this one. Okay, Professor Nam Ho Jung, okay, do you play golf? No? Okay, I'll do. Oh,
No.
yes, okay, yeah. So maybe I sorry, okay. Professor Gu, you played the golf, right? And then in golf swing, yeah, in golf swing, the most difficult thing is drive shot because their length is the most long. So recently I, cut off drive almost 2 centimeters. And then my drive accuracy dramatically increased. And that is my new approach. And then nowadays I purchased a new drive, longer drive. So I practice longer drive. And then in field, last week, I got serious match. I won almost $1,000. How? I used my shorter drive things. After I practice longer drive, it make my shorter drive much easier. So we call the contrast-based one. Okay. So setup, read 50 article. Later that, reading 10 is too easy. Okay. So I like golf, so I use the golf example, but you can use this one. Set up new goals. Set up a new routine or route. If you go to the school by, same method, someday try different way. Okay, you'll find different meaning. You can find the new place of the studying and what is travel, visiting new place. That is a fundamental travel motivation, right? So my recommendation is try new place. Finally, new people, this is a little bit cautious. If you're dating, somebody, it's not about dating simultaneously other people. No, that is ethically not acceptable. But try to meet or work with other people. It makes your life much easy. Reachable. So what is experiment? Try new things, right? So you know what is this? Can you, if you see this image, what kind of, scene can you expect in even South Korea? It's so popular Halloween party, right? It's actually our house located in front of that the Campbell's Bay Primary School. That is famous for the Halloween. So lots of Halloween, lots of kids knock the door, trick and treat, give some candy. In some way, I did lots of experiment. How? I set up this kind of candy. Less sour, sour, very sour. Are you familiar with this one? Extreme aversion, compromise effect. Yeah, this is actual what you call field experiment for me. So at the Halloween day, everybody waiting line. I did my empirical study. Yeah. So yeah, I could do experiment, right? Just change approach, not just giving candy. Okay, let's do certain experiment. And even the search straw, left one is normal one, but I put colored one. I make this one almost 3 hours, by myself, measuring the centimeter of this one. I found that if we put the different color, choice dramatically change. And even there is another Halloween study, I changed the box color, So thing is, experiment, even experimenting, you can do any experiment. Even today's presentation is a part of my experiment. I a little bit change, certain one. I received certain response. But I always keep, handsome jacket because there is always positive feedback. From yourself as well as from myself as well. Anyway, systematically collect the data, watch the response from participants, and then utilize it. You know what? I am very failure. I just shared that, I was rejected the majority of girls when I was undergraduated. In doctoral program application, I failed a lot. In job market, I failed a lot. Even, journal submission, I am the most failure research in our department, maybe in our faculty, So failure is not good, literally. But what's the meaning of failure? At least you did something differently, right? That is the most important take-home message, okay? Yeah, so failure is experiment. Right? Don't be afraid of being failed. Without failure means at least you try two different things. Yeah, and then the outcome is this is the P rank. Okay, they categorize the research rank based on ABPC. And then from 2018 president and Australia and New Zealand, it's about business, the faculty member based on okay the data. I located the number 3. Okay, I am a little bit better than okay even Collins, Michael Collins, right? Yeah. So
Who's Mike Collins?
the that professor is I'm not really the professor in New York University, right? Anyway, I'm so proud of it.
Michael Hall.
Michael Hall
yeah.
is
Yeah.
located
Show-
in 7th.
Show that table to our dean.
No, it's just from 2018. Okay, recent one, maybe recent 5 years. But it's, I mean, aggregate, he is much higher than me. But
You're
my
teaching
point
us now manipulation. Okay, manipulation doesn't matter.
is,
Just you didn't try to. You don't need to try to deceive, but you just show what you want to show.
oh yeah.
That's the manipulation.
Okay, yeah. Good. And so here is my final message. Do something different and new. Right? So especially what's the job of students? Okay, time of you have opportunity of being failure. If I'm failure systematically, okay, my teaching, I will be fired from school, right? Okay, I failed to do conducted a certain job, okay, as a professional level, I'll be fired from my organization. Lots of professional people believe that one, right? Look at the baseball, okay? If you fail, okay, hit, or I mean, throw a good pitch, okay, certain period of time, you will be ejected by professional team. That is a professional world. But the student life is different, right? And if you just, okay, pass the paper and then, okay, you have plenty of opportunity of failure, right? Please enjoy the failure, okay? That is my final message for you. And then this message can be, okay, helpful for you. Yep. That's
Thank
it.
you very much, New Zealand Sanai, the man of the New Zealand. Wow. Actually, I learned from you again how we start the marketing experiment design. This is a fantastic and impact. Okay, these days we have failed many reject from desk reject. I'm so happy because I'm failed. Okay, this is very good time to learn from him about experiment design. You can give any question to him.
I have a question.
Okay.
Yeah. First of all, I really appreciate about your lecture. My question is about the control variables.
Okay.
Sometimes I found out control variables on the article, especially of about the experimental design research. So how can we like set up the control variables or add like based on theory or just assumption?
Okay. Yeah, first of all, okay, and in survey, the incorporating control variable is very critical, right? So whenever you, for example, incorporate the company data, you automatically include the company's size, employee number, types of business, and blah, blah, right? Because the variable significantly at least company's performance. In some experiment, actually, control variable is not that important. Go to the original advertising case, we only change the wording of that one, and then it influence on evaluation of the advertising, right? So even, okay, price is IB or dependent variable, and then personal income do not influence on price. Why? Because based on randomization, okay? So even though, but that does not tell that price never influence on our choice. No, price is one of the important factors, but if you control other factor, other what they call variables, but you only focus on specific experimental factors and control variable not much important. That is in a way, okay, the strength of the experiment. But when we reviewed previously, it's quite important to check certain control, situational controlling, right? If you measuring beef, you should measure whether participant is vegetarian or not, right?
Yeah.
So if you measure certain food or a certain area of travel, okay, if they don't interest at all, it's better to systematically exclude from participant, right? At that time, maybe control variable is more important.
Okay, so
Yeah.
sampling is the most important thing, like randomization.
Yeah.
Thank
Good.
you very much.
Yes. And then previously, okay, we when we use control, we called covariate in another model. But in some way, okay, now maybe that variable is just too arbitrary, okay? So a little bit marginally significant variable becomes significant after we call input controlling variable, but this experiment do not like that kind of approach. So that is another particular story. So compared to the survey method one, controlling variable is not that important in experiment. Good question.
Thank you.
JK, I have a
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
First of all, thank you for great seminar. It's not common to have a seminar on the experiment research, so I really appreciate that. I have quite similar question with Amin. So when I learned the statistics, there's ANOVA and ANCOVA, and the main difference is like the covariance. So a lot of research control the demographic things, or like even some things related to the topics like familiarity with the technology or things. So you mean if we randomize well and then like screen the participants of the research, you mean it's okay to not to consider the things like that?
Oh yeah, so that is my conclusion based on my empirical experience. Okay, still you can measure certain covariable, control variable or covariate variable. But my point is, even if you put up there, okay, sometimes the obvious theoretically important factor like price of product never influence on price attitude.
Okay.
If you manipulate other ones. So my point is, still you can try measure, but that kind of consideration not much important compared to if you use survey method. In survey method, if you use, for example, company data, and if you miss company size and employee numbers, it dramatically distort the result naturally, right? But experiment, you don't much worry about it. Okay. Rather, you more focus on moderating variable, possible moderating variable. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. I have another question.
Yeah.
So when I looked through the experiment research papers, some papers put the actual control groups like no manipulation at all, but like some papers don't have a control group, but rather they separate the manipulation levels. So how do we decide whether to put the actual control group or like differentiate the level of the manipulations?
Okay, yeah, so good question. Okay, usually, for example, certain advertising versus no advertising, even if there is a certain effect, not much interesting, right? Because in the advertising group, before they evaluate, they expose certain task, right? So therefore, it's better to use two experimental conditions, okay? So rather than no advertising condition, maybe they just what they call expose definition of the certain or provide basic information of a certain hotel. Okay. Throughout that process, you can make more comparable what they call comparison group. So sometimes, okay, if you have a very extreme version, that can influence by various factors, right? So go to the advertising one. That study is not good. Okay, I told that. Okay, practically, yeah, theoretically we can develop that, but nowadays you cannot publish it in that level. Rather than you more pick up more specific, what they call things. So even though they provide the exact same information, one condition they called advertising, the other condition that is publicity. And then, okay, information amount is the same. The real matter is the way of delivering, whether advertising and publicity, right? And then if you found certain one, that is a much better experimental design, right? So as well as if you conducted multiple experiment, maybe first study you can conduct advertising and no advertising. But next one is better to provide more stronger, okay, control condition, okay, like keeping other thing constant. So there you need a certain artistic what they call skill, okay, and develop several different versions of independent variable manipulation. Good news is there is a huge existing literature. Okay, already demonstrated one, just borrow that.
Thank
Good.
you.
Yeah.
Professor,
Yeah.
I have a question too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for your interesting lecture. And my question is quite practical. When we collect the data, we can fail the manipulation check. So it is, so we should collect data again. So my question is there any way to use the data that is failed to manipulate?
Okay.
I mean yeah.
Good. Okay. I did not cover the manipulation check in my lecturing,
Yes.
but what is a manipulation check is that after they conduct the experiment,
Yeah.
the experiment confirm from participant whether my true origin purpose of advertising work or not. Go to the 25% of fat versus 75% of lean. We can measure, okay? What is the description of that? The ground beef attribute, positive and negative, based on
Yes.
that one, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, go to the experiment procedure. After we manipulate IV, we do not check manipulation check because answering manipulation check can be influenced on the dependent variables response. So typically, after we manipulate IB, after we measuring DB and mediator, and then we measuring manipulation check. Sometimes manipulation check can be failed because you already answer, okay, influence on IB, answer certain longer question, and then sometimes, okay, that is not that too obvious, they forgot it, right?
Yes.
So there is certain memory problem. So how we can optimize, maybe conduct the pre-test, okay, just checking manipulation from small sample, okay? That is one method. And another thing is, I believe that manipulation itself, okay, should tell, the effectiveness of manipulation itself can be found from dependent variable, right? So if there is certain effect, at least manipulation is successful unless that significant p-value is artificially generated by random chance. But anyway, okay, conducting small priori test is the best method, okay? Avoiding various the situation, whether manipulation check measured before DV or after DV.
Okay. Can I ask one more question? If we do the pre-test, as you know, the experiment depends on the sample size. Something like small sample size is quite difficult to take the positive results. So how could we know the expect result using the small size, using the eta value or something like?
Yeah, eta value is about effect size, right? So effect size is how the difference of a fundamental, difference between experiment condition. So best one is, okay, if you look at the pre-existing result, okay, you can estimate certain effect size. Or if you conducted the first study, you can estimate the certain effect size, okay? And then based on that assumption, you can plan the second and third study. So it's about experience. Okay, and sometimes and then if you use more powerful design, stronger one, and much better. So my analogy like this. I need your imagination. Imagine that this is rubber, okay? And then rubber is very loose. How you cut this one? It's very difficult, right? But rubber is very tight. And if you cut the knife over here, bam! So that is very powerful study. If you manipulate very one, even if the knife is not that sharp, you can easily cut this rubber loop.
Nice. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I have a question too.
Yeah.
Like when you said a strong manipulation, like a very small, very ugly 구철모 image, very handsome JK image. This is a strong manipulation. In that case, it's a very easy question and very easily manipulated by the participant. So I assume that we can get the data from the strong manipulation. But I have a wonder. I wonder, is it too easy? What is it too general or typical if we use a strong manipulation?
Yeah, I mean, you bring a really good question. Okay, so usually, for example, I can get 100% prediction. Okay, each one you can participate that one. I can give you $10 and $20. Which one would you like to choose? Everyone, you should choose $20, right? So that is the fundamental principle of economics. Free money, you will take high utility, right? So that's actually the fundamental economic law, right? And then everyone knows the effect. Everyone knows. So it's not about scientific truth, okay? You cannot publish that kind of data. So in some way, what is interesting things is, in some way, existing knowledge cannot explain that phenomena. But theoretically, certain my approach is just a little bit change of a small thing generate small one. So maybe in my experiment, I use $10 versus $9.99. There is $1 change, but the result dramatically change, right? Yeah. So yeah, you're right. So too obvious means too strong. Too strong effect sometimes too obvious, and you cannot publish it. Okay. So the good thing is, even though you use very small what they call difference, but in some way you make a more powerful design, and then the small effect is much what they call stronger, and theoretical level it's interesting. As well as practical level, you got successful experimental design. And then especially after you establish main effect, when you conducted the mediator moderator one, if you don't have a strong effect, it's really difficult, provide strong significance of moderation effect. So at that time, you need a much stronger design. Okay. Thank
That's
you.
Right.
And
so
then another thing,
for example, American consumers like to buy a product in 99 cents, $99, $99 effect. But here in Korea, we don't like that kind of a 99 effect. We are rounded, price. 10,000원, 20,000원, 10,000원, 15,000원, 20,000원, something like that, right? That is obvious or not?
But however, if you go to the Korean supermarket, they use not a 9 ending price, right? Nowadays. So yeah, but my point is like that. And then I have really interesting data. It's about ultimate game. And then sometimes people's behavior is the opposite from economic value.
So which means it's a trend that we are learning from American behavior.
Oh no, it's not about American things. I believe that one aspect of theory is abstraction. It's not about Korean people, American people. It's about human behavior. So even though I write down paper, I do not mention that this is case of Korea or US. I believe that humans are quite similar, okay?
Okay.
In some way, whether we use Korean and English, the number is a number.
Okay.
And even, okay, whatever we use the number, the meaning of that figure is the same. So
Which means we are scientifically learning now, and we apply that theory into the practical, application. If that is true, there is a human behavior case.
Yeah. However,
Okay.
there is certain cultural, what they call difference, the way of reading, right to left, left to right, significant influence, right? Sometimes you read horizontally, sometimes you read vertically. It influences the information processing, definitely. Okay, final one question.
Wow, final. Who's gonna take a final? Whoa. One final question. This is gonna be luck to you. Hey, students, you don't know him. He is a great researcher. You never meet him.
Oh, Professor.
I have a question.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, Jung and Jongnamun next.
I have a very simple question.
Yeah.
So I'm doing the experimental design right now, and I keep fail. The result is not significant, and I keep failing. And I just want to know: is there any your recommended guideline, the literatures or books on it? Because I understand there is a lot of context on the various contexts for each design, but I'm just like, I'm trying to find from online or the other literature.
Okay.
How can I change it for the next time?
Yeah. Oh, actually, okay. Practically, there's no literature said that what should you do after you face a failure of experiment, right?
No.
Yeah, there's no literature. My recommendation is, okay, look at the data very closely. As I told that how they answer, they all as too good or too bad or too middle or too quickly or too fast. As well as put yourself in participants' role. If I answer 7 or 9 or 1 in that scale, why I answer that one? Okay, you need a certain imagination as well. So live with the data, okay? Data always tell the story. Data never tell the lie, okay? So data is truth, whether fail or success. Okay, believe me, okay? I got lots of failure from, okay, approaching girls later, okay? I figured out my weakness. At the time, I didn't know that, okay? I put myself, okay? So my regional failure is I was too aggressive, okay? And then I didn't know that. I heard that story, okay, 20 years later, I asked her, the girl, why you reject me? And she told me that your pressure is so huge.
So aggressive.
She tells that story, okay, when I was young, okay? Thing is, I was failed, okay? But my point is, yeah, change the role. Your experiment, if you work, your experiment, experiment participant work some way, okay? Put yourself in that position, try to answer. How can I answer? Whether my theory is really salient, if that is very weak, you can a little bit increase that the manipulation of independent variable, right? It's not easy, okay, try, yeah. Believe me, my success rate of experiment is less than 20%, okay, and when I was PhD one, but nowadays, based on lots of experiment, but I sometimes, okay, spend 3 hours analyzing failure data. Do anything, okay, or lots of put so many variables, I'm living with the data, okay? Even that is a failure data.
That's we need a supervisor to give a comment, and that's we need like someone who has a lot of experience. Okay, thank you. And Dean, okay.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Kim. It is very impressive. You are located in the above the micro hole. He is the #1 professor in tourism and hospitality. Yeah, I'd like to invite you in our university. My question is, I usually use a survey method when I write a paper. These days, many paper is rejected from the journal using the survey method. What do you think of the future of survey method?
I think that, okay, maybe I'm going to share my experience of the submission of the top journal of JTR. One of the comment I cannot forget is, oh, your research is different from typical survey method, which I reviewed. Maybe that sentence tells a lot. So maybe typical survey method, okay, then not much differentiation from existing literature. Typically, survey research replicate certain phenomena in certain a little bit new topic or new field or new participant, right? But my approach, why is it successful? Maybe I use decision-making theory that is quite new, but it's relevant for the decision-making, especially in online booking situation. So thing is, find something new. Okay, a little bit difficult because the research topic and issue is a little bit strongly bound with specific method. For me, okay, for me to easily generate different research questions, it's not familiar with the current research things because nobody conducted that approach. So, but still, I believe that survey research is quite important. So you need to maybe focus on, okay, different approach, maybe find a different topic. I believe that smart tourism is a really good, what they call the topic, even though the survey method, if your topic is new and relevant for the current things, you can get on. But anyway, there is certain, I really emphasize that there is certain what they call new research method advantage. Currently, I'm enjoying that experimental method. Okay, so another method is Professor Jung. Why don't you work with me? You have survey data, I have experiment data. Boom! Oh, wonderful!
Wow, great.
Okay. Very good, long debut. Okay, today we are very precious lectures from Professor Kim, handsome JK. He is one of the top researcher in our field. If you want to check it out, you go to this Google Scholar. You can find out how critically he published these days recently. TM, JTR, ATR, the journals we pay respect, actually. So if you want, I will bring him to our seminar and study too. Actual research. Okay. Today is just a kind of principle design, but next level is going the actual wartime game. Anyway,
sorry. Okay, Professor, can I share the one more PowerPoint? Okay, for the student.
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Sorry. Okay, I currently maybe So okay, can you see it? It's quite okay. I cannot find a good English translate for the Indian. It's not the destiny. That is too romantic, right? We are destiny, too romantic. But it's, professionally, we are in destiny. We have good Indian. This is my email address. If you have any experimental question things, send me. Remember, mention dear handsome JK. I know that you take from this one, and I will answer you. If you say the Professor Kim, I never answer to you. So feel free to contact me.
In the world.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. This is wonderful lectures, and the experimental design is a critical one method. You guys are here in smart tourism. Absolutely, we need this kind of marketing experiment for your research, and mixed method approach like a survey and experiment, big data and the experiment, and other field study and experiment. Your job is you're going to do that kind of a method sooner or later. So thank you very much, handsome JK. We look forward to you in your future again, or face to face again.
Yeah, sure. Okay, thanks so much. Yeah,
thank you.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
밥 먹으러 갑시다. 자, 여기 계신 제 수업 듣는 분들은 숙제를 계속 내주시기 바랍니다. 계속 체크하고 있습니다. 네.